Hey guys, ArchTalko here, inviting you for a nice, intelligent conversation about what Limbo means to me. Now, before we start, I want to make sure you guys know that I love to hear your thoughts on all this. So, whether you think my idea is the next best thing since sliced bread, or a piece of bologna, feel free to comment below and let us know. Now, with that out of the way, let me start by saying that I believe there are two parts to Limbo's story: the literal events taking place within the game, and then the characterization of the little boy to flesh out his backstory. So, let's start with the literal events. As revealed by Playdead, Limbo is about a boy trying to find his sister. What's interesting is that the choice behind the title Limbo, according to the Roman Catholics, is that Limbo is where the souls of unbaptized innocent children go to after death. I guess think of it as a purgatory for kids, which explains why the only humans you meet throughout the game are children. So with this in mind, let's take a look at the end of the game. Upon breaking through the glass barrier, you finally reach your sister. However, as you approach her, it starts becoming apparent that she's hunched over this body underneath the treehouse. This kind of leads me to believe that the little boy had previously died by falling from the treehouse. Upon dying, you wake up in this unfamiliar forest, with your only goal to make it back to the site from where you fell. As you approach the girl, your sister, your presence startles her, and then the game just abruptly ends. It seems that by crossing Limbo's barrier, you become slightly closer to the real world. So then, maybe, in order to let go and descend into heaven, all the boy needed was to see his sister one last time. I like to point out the rope ladder. As you can see, it doesn't really make any sense for it to be there. You can clearly see the boards nailed up against the side of that tree trunk. Instead, I believe this kind of represents the end of the boy's adventure, or his final ascension into heaven. Again, I believe that in order to let go, all he needed was to see his sister one last time. Sad, right? But why have such a strong attachment to his sister more than any other person in his life? I believe that the parts in between the game might help to explain why. Now, this next part's a little bit sketchy. I have some vague ideas as to how other elements of the game fit into the overall story arc, but again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and together, maybe we can even completely flesh it out. So let's start with the spider, one of the earliest antagonists within the game. I believe the spider may represent some irrational fear the boy had back when he was living. It repeatedly shows up when you, as the player, don't expect it. And the only way the boy is able to overcome and defeat this irrational fear is to accept help from outside sources, aka the boulder, but ultimately by destroying it himself, by literally tearing it apart limb by limb, or in this case just one limb. So maybe though this irrational fear had already given the boy a bad reputation among his peers. They would have bullied and teased him, which would have been shown as the refusal of the children in-game to allow you to join them in the treehouse. And there are multiple attempts at killing you. And over time, the boy might have begun withdrawing to himself, hence the part of the game where it starts to rain. Throughout all this, his sister may have been the only one giving him true love and support, and maybe even sticking up to the bullies. The little boy would have developed an extraordinarily strong bond with the sister, hence his deep attachment to her, even in the afterlife. Looking at all the trials the boy faces, it just kind of seems like, in order for him to move on to the next stage of the afterlife, he has to overcome all these personal faults and experiences. Some elements of the game kind of seem tacked on, like the tires, and were probably just used because the developers can make new unique puzzles with round objects. But maybe there are even more ties to the in-game puzzles, and what may have driven the little boy to his eventual death. Before I go, I want to show you guys a picture of the last scene where you meet up with your sister, and then, after the credits end, the menu. Take a good look. Now, probably the most noticeable thing is the seemingly large passage of time. Now, what this could mean? really, it's anyone's guess. I'd also like to point out the fact that there are flies above where you were standing and where your sister was standing before the credits roll. Obviously, the flies would probably symbolize that there's something decaying under them. So that's very interesting. And I really would like to hear what you think about that, because it is definitely something to chew about. So for now, that is going to be it for today. So thanks for watching me say words. Yeah. And until then, see you guys next time.